Sam Robinson, and I am today going to start a new videocast series that will revolve around the principles of natural law, of moral objectivism that are tied in with natural law, and how this knowledge is derived from the ancient mystery tradition, but is pertinent today due to what has been termed by Mark Passio the law of freedom. The law of freedom revolves around the idea and the principle that as aggregate morality increases, freedom increases. And as aggregate morality decreases, freedom decreases. That before we get into how that is impacting us today, let us begin with what is natural law. Natural law is the idea and principles that are inherent to the cosmic superstructure created by the absolute to govern the manifested universe, essentially. And some people will refer to some of these laws as the Hermetic principles, there are 7. The major one revolves around this is law 1, which is consciousness. The entire universe is derived out of consciousness, states of consciousness, at varying degrees, and I guess you could say densities, and is essentially a mirrored aspect of the immutable consciousness that has allocated its essence for the manifestation of the cosmos, whether the material world or the more subtle worlds that it's built from. And the immutable essence allocated these powers to the Logos, and the Logos is what is generally referred to as the Creator. For many schools of religious thought are unaware of the essence of the Logos, which is the immutable absolute principle from which all things are derived and all things go back to at the end of each cycle. And thus, since it is not a creator or an architect, but it's the essence of the architect, it has the Logos is drawn from this essence the powers necessary to effectuate laws which govern morality, as well as govern cosmic unfoldment and manifestation. Natural law principles and natural law are the very foundation upon which the whole universe is erected. Natural laws are immutable and are always in effect from the very inception of each cycle of manifestation to the very end, wherein the cycle and everything that has occurred and manifested in the cycle are reabsorbed into the absolute before another cycle begins. So, natural law and the natural law of morality, which stems from these laws, revolves around the idea of sovereignty of a being on whatever level. And sovereign rights of a being, of an individuality that has a level of consciousness akin to our own, if it be transgressed or violated, this would violate what I refer to as natural law and the objective moral concepts that are derived from this natural law. I want to go ahead and make a caveat and explain that in no way whatsoever does natural law have anything to do with ideas referring to Darwin, whether social Darwinism or natural world Darwinian survival of the fittest evolutionary concepts. Those have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Those are in no way related to the natural law I'm referring to. Natural law I'm referring to are spiritual laws of morality and manifestation, which allow the universe and the beings with consciousness to function at a level of equilibrium and maintain harmony within their structures. Now, if those principles are violated, transgressed, or broken, they exact a consequence for it being broken. They can be broken. They're broken all the time. But it is not without consequence. And this law of consequence, or the law of karma, is the law which enables certain occurrences to manifest within societies, should or should not they be transgressed on either an individual, state, or national, or even world level. There is societal karma, individual karma, global, species level karma, and all are interconnected with moral objectivity and the natural law principles underlying it. Societies today, in 2022, do not recognize the ideas of moral objectivity on a large degree. In a large degree, we have become moral relativists, and as moral relativists has been on the rise, we've seen an outcome and descent in relation to that has been a loss of freedom and individual sovereignty and rights as this increases. Well, Mark Passio, I must give Mark Passio credit for a lot of these ideas, but they derive from the ancient mystery tradition. But Mark Passio has a saying when he refers to the law of freedom, which is tied up with the law of natural laws of morality and objective morality. And he states accurately that as aggregate morality increases, freedom increases. And as aggregate morality decreases, freedom decreases, sovereignty decreases, rights decrease. And as someone who has studied history, have a degree in history, I can certainly tell you that every society that has ever become decadent and immoral on a large scale, which has basically been every society, has suffered from this repercussion for violating natural laws of morality. They always fall, and it's a cycle that's as old as historical records have basically been around, as well as today. It applies so much to today, just as much as it applied back then. And humanity is largely unaware of these principles as a collective and the aggregate. And it is this ignorance, this lack of knowledge and understanding of these principles that allows us to continue our march towards moral depravity and increasing authoritarianism in our world structures. The last couple of years are just one indicator, an expression of this march off the cliff of moral objectivism into utter totalitarianism, as we see our rights and sovereignty routinely dismantled in our day and age. And natural law is the very essence and foundation upon which proper societies based in freedom, based in sovereignty, are able to exist in the long term. Whenever they sway from this path, whenever they sway from their moral integrity, and the do as thy will occurs on a grand scale, those societies suffer a fall and ruin that ends in their disintegration without without exception. There are no societies in history that have transgressed natural law and, so to speak, lived to tell about it. It's an immutable principle. It can be broken, but not overcome. Its repercussions will always manifest every time. And natural law, moral objectivism, is the on a pinnacle of mankind's understanding and knowledge of how right living occurs. Without this knowledge, natural laws will be transgressed continuously. And this knowledge is lacking. We don't teach this in schools. The ancients taught this type of stuff for the most part in the ancient mystery traditions. And we nowadays tend to think that we are gods. Certainly the leaders of the world think that, and that we can just kind of do anything that we want. That there is no creator, that there are no laws, that it's the law as man makes it, and this is leading us into a time period where, you know, we are seeing such drastic repercussions from that mindset that it's largely seemingly unparalleled, at least in the actual historical record. Um, you know, we violate the rights of animals, we violate the rights of each other, we violate the rights of children, of unborn children even, on a daily basis. And these are all transgressions of natural law. And as a result, we're all seeing our own freedoms and sovereignties removed and taken away as we continue on this path. For society to, resuscitate itself and stop its headlong descent into moral depravity and the resulting authoritarianism that will arise from it, through the law of freedom, we have a chance to halt this advance and descent if we disseminate these ideas widely enough, if we take responsibility for our actions and take the hard road, but the right road towards moral objectivism, and we can resurrect a proper path for humanity if we understand these principles widely enough. Humanity can't do it at the moment. It's not looking so good, but I would say that there are many out there that are trying to do the right thing, trying to information. Mark Passio being the major one, and we are indebted to Mark Passio for all that he's done to explain a lot of these esoteric concepts that have been widely kept out of the public eye, and largely done so on purpose. Because the ones in charge know about these principles and they know how to bend them to a degree, and they don't want you to know about them because they are the foundation of societal freedom in the aggregate as a principle that cannot be undone. And as they suck us dry with their cultural inventions, their legion, they are many, they have enabled us to orchestrate our own destruction and enslavement due to a lack of morality. and moral objective understanding of how it functions, and that is a law that exists, just like gravity is a law that exists that cannot be transgressed without repercussions. And these repercussions are manifesting in front of our very eyes every day and are not going to stop until we to understand these concepts and teach them to our children and get rid of this education system, which is indoctrinating people into absolute moral depravity, and is designed to do that. And they're just going to have to take a larger role in teaching their children. That's just how it's going to have to be. Natural law, further, are other principles, the Hermetic principles, besides the moral ones, that enable the cosmos to be unfolded. But for it to remain in equilibrium, these principles must be maintained harmonically in a equalized resonant state that allows for a give and take, but a middle ground to always be maintained, for there to be a lack of chaos, especially in the human world. And these principles have largely been ignored by science, as they've become so materialistic that they don't even believe that morality even exists, or that there is a creator, or that there are immutable laws such as these. They only believe in their, laws of relativity and gravity and man's right to do what he wants, which is their own law. And so, history traditions provided detailed explanations of how objective morality worked, and was a requirement to join the mystery tradition schools. You were not allowed to join if you did not have an extraordinary level of moral integrity, perseverance, and such steadfastness that those principles of yours would not falter in scenarios of duress. And thus, they were one of the most pivotal requirements to become an initiate in the ancient mystery tradition. And regardless, they were pivotal for societies to function. And mystery traditions was a foundation in the background that allowed societies in the ancient world to function effectively and to not entirely lose themselves in decadence and war. The you know, bulwark that would reconstitute each society as it veered off the beaten path of integrity into morality. They were there always to reconstitute man into the spiritual philosophical knowledge regarding objective morality. And unfortunately, they were mostly wiped out, but we have people today that are attempting to resurrect these ideas and re-disseminate them and attempt to bring an age of enlightenment to mankind. Not really a golden age, but certainly a better one than we're in now. And without without the understanding of these principles, we stand essentially no hope whatsoever of circumventing our doom. There's no way around it. We must understand these principles, and they must be widely understood for there ever to be effective change in the world. And Without it, we are going to end up in a dark age, and we're getting pretty close to that at the moment. And I just want to say that Mark Passio and those like him have been mentors to the rest of us who have wanted to speak out and have wanted to learn this information and have wanted to make a change in the world. And I just want to give a shout out to Mark Passio and thank him and those like him for everything that they've done in topics in a comprehensive and understandable way, and enabled people like me and thousands of others to gain a correct understanding of where we stand, what we need to do as a species and as a culture, especially in America, and how much is at stake without understanding these principles. Natural law is perhaps the most pivotal thing to understand when it comes to what we call the awakening. Not being woke, but being awake. Awake to the occulted principles that are inside us and structure the nature of the universe. And the occult is a topic most people probably try to steer away from, but natural law comes from the ideas and the philosophies of the occult. And the occult simply means hidden. And without this occulted understanding and the knowledge that comes with that field, such as natural law, man can never truly understand himself nor his relationship to the universe. The microcosm and the macrocosm are always interconnected, and the occulted laws of nature and of morality are foundational forever, apprehending any sort of understanding of how we relate to the cosmos and how it relates to us, as above, so below. And the occult must be understood to understand natural law, to understand yourself, and to understand how the universe functions on a supersensible level, on the level of causes and not just in this realm of the effects. And next time, in my next video, I'm going to go a little bit more into the ideas of the occult and the ideas of the law of freedom and how our society has basically been completely structured to function on a level of natural law transgression, and how the very fabric of the transgression is built into the structures of our governmental and societal structures to such a degree that they are irreparable and must be torn down. And but today, that is all I wanted to get this out. I wanted to start making videos again, and my name is Sam Robinson, and thank you for watching. If you have watched, please subscribe. There's more to come, and please share this video if you feel the need, and you have a wonderful day.